Hey everyone, today we're going to do another decade of decks, but this time it's going to feature someone that you might know, and that is Mr. Kelvin Yap right here. How's it going, Kelvin?
Hey, pretty good.
Yeah, so you might not know, but Kelvin actually does top quite a lot. If you see the Hall of Fame, I think he's tops more than me, yeah? Just a bit.
Just a bit.
And he's done pretty well at big events, especially Worlds. He went to Worlds twice, right?
I did, yes.
Yeah, and he came 4th one time for Standard, so... it kind of shatters the image that WCC only plays Premium, right? We also play Standard. So, fun times. Now, also, Kelvin has played Vanguard actually longer than I have. He started, I think, near the beginning, while I started kind of...
Quite close to it, yeah.
Yeah, I think he's done the full 10 years, so he can offer a totally different perspective on how Vanguard is, especially since he started in, I think, Indonesia, right? So, different environment. And that will kind of reflect in some of his deck choices in the beginning, because I think when did you first start? Like, how old were you?
Well, I'm not gonna release my personal information here. You can look that up.
You can look that up, dude. We can find it. But you were still in high school.
But
right?
I was in high school, yeah, and back then everyone just played a bit of card games here and there. I think Yu-Gi-Oh mainly.
Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh. That's always a mainstay.
And then I don't know, card gamers always find the next card games, and one day we found this new card game in a magazine called Vanguard, and we're like, this looks a bit interesting, the art's kind of appealing at that time.
Yeah.
And we were also playing Washwords, and we thought like, oh, this company does both Vanguard and Washwords, so let's give it a try.
Okay. Alright, so this is the first deck we have that he built from the beginning. It is Nova Grapplers. It's not one of the big three.
Yeah, well, it is technically one of the four.
I guess at the time it was kind of a big two. It was like Royals and Kagura, right?
Yes.
But why did you pick this deck?
Well, I didn't really get into the first wave, like the first two TDs, and as I tried the game more, they said like, oh, there's new announcement for this new clan, and it's gonna feature robots. I'm like, oh, robots, cool.
Yeah.
And the cover art, that gold Rutal over there, that one copy of gold Rutal, it's kind of funny story actually. I was building Gunplas back then.
Yeah.
And it looked very similar to one that I was building. I think it was a Master Grade Musha Gundam. I was like, oh, this looks really cool. I don't care if the effect is terrible. I'll just play it. So yeah, robots, I go.
I mean, with Novas, the robots are kind of deceiving, right? You see you see some cool robots, and suddenly weird wrestlers.
That's the first thing that came to your mind. It's like you pick Nova Grapplers thinking it's robot from the cover art, and you're like, grapplers? What, you grapple with machines? And you find out like, that's a bit of an odd mix in here, but you know, gotta play for the robots.
Now, so this is a gold Rutal with Asura Kaiser. Any other reasons why you picked it, or it was just...
Well, I saw Ashura Kaiser and was like, oh, that's pretty cool. You can attack multiple times. And at that time, you don't have that many options for triggers, so stand triggers were kind of interesting. Especially Battle Riser goes back to your deck.
Yeah.
And your starting Vanguard doesn't do anything anyway, so yeah, having an effect starter is pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, looking at this deck, lots of memories. This is...
Oh yeah.
This is pretty much, you know, if you're playing Vanguard 0 like a year ago, that's basically what you start with.
Yeah, actually when I did play Vanguard 0 for a bit, and yeah, it does bring back a lot of good memories.
This deck is actually stronger in Vanguard 0 than it was in real life, because back then, standing, who cares?
Yeah, it doesn't do much.
Who cares, you know, especially cross rides that came soon later. 11k base, wow, amazing tech. So that was, you were just a kid in high school, started this new game. Nova Grapplers also very cheap, I guess, back then compared to everything else.
Yeah, I think so. The top decks back then were Kagura and Royal Paladin, definitely. So yeah, this was Azura Kaiser's like, oh, do you want it? I don't need it. Sure, I'll take all your Azura Kaisers.
But moving on to the next part, our next stage was what is this?
Oh,
what do we have here?
Right. So, funny story again. I didn't get to play Vanguard in Indonesia for too long, because I actually moved to Australia at that time. And over here we have something that's quite rare. That is Kinokuniya. So Vanguard manga was actually pretty interesting, and they come with PRs.
In case you guys don't know, let me interject here. Kinokune is a giant bookstore.
Yeah.
And
Japanese bookstore.
Yeah. It's basically like an entire floor in the city. And normally, when you think of bookstores, you think of shops that don't exist anymore, right? that business model ended, but they're still around. But they, at the time, they got a lot of like Japanese books as well, because they have a
magazines,
pure Japanese section, and they would sometimes they could even import you stuff that you
can
need.
order stuff
Yes.
through them.
Yeah, so go on.
And we saw this like new card called No Life Came. Like, wow, this card is so cool, and read the effect. It's like, this card is pretty insane, and not in a good sense, but like if you show what happens on the field to any other card gamer out there, they're like, dude, this card is like
10k and a crit.
Yeah.
That's really cool back then. Man.
And also like sort of were interested in the whole DI sort of aesthetics back then, especially Doreen.
Because you were a kid and you were edgy. Is that it?
I don't know, but it's like, I don't know, back then everything hits like 16, 17, 18, and I was just like, hold on, if you make your lanes hit 20 and 21, you have a really cool deck. So, you know, if you slap a 12k front row and 21? A 9k back row, you hit 21. And
just 21? You know?
21 was amazing. That was like, but you can't guard it with a single trigger.
I don't know, like even back then, I think people were happy hitting even higher than that with DI, right?
Yeah. You have the crazy turns that you can hit like 30 something, and you're like, wow, this guy is insane. You have double Doreen and like stand trigger, and you're like, oh yeah.
Why did you run stand triggers? I thought it was the age of crits and draws.
I don't think there were enough crits. I don't think there were even draws for like DI back then.
But you could play other clans. Oh, I know.
Yeah, well, you can.
Oh, you could, but yeah, no, they didn't get the effect.
Exactly. Yeah, you can play triggers, but they won't affect.
You could play like Captain Blue Bloods, like 10k vanillas though.
Yep, you can play that. But yeah, this deck, I still like it, and you have the Still Vampire. You know, really cool art, really amazing artist. And yeah,
I mean, it had a pretty cool effect back then. You know?
Yeah, definitely. Especially when people run buckles, sometimes they don't, you know, it stays on the field. But yeah, good stuff.
The next deck that we can look at in your journey is you built a Stern Blau Kruger deck. So what year was this? Was this 2012 already?
This would be, nearing 2012.
Was this around the time I met you? Or?
I think so. This is when we start to have a lot more interactions with the I'll say local community in Sydney, and Vanguard was going pretty well. A lot more people interested in the game, and you know, we can get more boxes and share clans, and because this brings back more memories.
I remember when I met you, this is the clan that you played.
Yep.
Stern Blau Kruger. I'm like, wow, what is this? This isn't a red clan or a yellow clan. It's it has robots.
It's robots. Yeah. I don't know if Vanguard has anything other than like Kagera and like no, it was OTT back then. Tsukuyomi was insane.
But yeah, this is pretty cool Stern Blau Kruger deck. I think it looked cool, right?
It looks super cool. And this was also around the time Unicorn movies were out.
Oh,
so if you're building the kits and you're like, wow, is this the full armor version? It looks inspired by Gundams, you can tell. But
it's weird, right? Like Dimension Police has the kind of the
super robot sort of thing.
Robot. Yep. Nova Grapplers has got the Gundam side, but only a bit of it. Yeah, and then they got the wrestling side as well.
Yeah. So I'm not sure what they thought about their wrestling side, but hey, I think 3 minutes looked pretty cool.
Funny name.
Yeah, funny name. But yeah.
All right.
Love this deck.
So I think moving on, we go to your first nationals.
Yeah.
And I remember, like we knew each other. Like it's funny because when I look back, me and you basically go to a lot of tournaments together. Even
sort of, yeah.
Like the ones that we don't go to, I don't go to. But the ones that you do, I turn up to as well.
Definitely.
This was, I think, did you borrow? You borrowed this deck from me, right?
I don't think I've ever owned a Kagero deck in my whole life. Owned. Never. Not a single one. So yeah, we started having proper tournaments in
yeah.
Was it Melbourne? Yeah, it was
This was
in Melbourne.
nationals.
This was nationals.
Yeah. Was this actually your first nationals you went to? You didn't go to the one before?
No, I didn't go to the previous one. I wasn't aware there were big tournaments. So yeah, I tried to go to tournament. I was like, I don't know what decks I can play.
Just play the meta.
I asked around, managed to get this deck. I think it was from either from you or from Andy.
It was from me because Andy played his own.
That's right.
Yeah.
I think it was pretty much the exact same deck.
Yeah.
And did actually pretty well with this deck. I think I got up to the last round of Swiss, but barely lost. And Andy made it to top 8. And then he lost to
the Mamashita.
Yep, that was memorable. I still love those moments. But hey, I lost with this deck. Still pretty strong. I don't think I used it to its
maximum potential.
Yeah. But the next day I played Wise and top 4.
That was pretty good. That's not bad. I think we have.
Yeah, but that also gave me PTSD. I think I was playing against Darutan at that time, and
it became another team.
I became the brainstorm man. But yeah, like I don't know. With the journey of Vanguard, I find every deck that I've played through, I met quite a lot of people through these events and decks. So
yeah.
Memories.
So it's funny because in this deck we don't see Belacosti Dragon. That was a great card. I think it's interesting because you'll see a bunch of these decks. You go, why don't you run the counter charger?
Yep.
And a lot of the times it's just play better. You don't need to use that many effects.
Yep. You just like use the counter blast in the right timing.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's a 2-effect game.
Yep.
2-3 effect game back then.
Like your 5k trades were so important back then, and that's what I love about old Vanguard. It's that that small play that wins you those games. But hey, time has changed.
Yeah, times has changed. It's all about the big plays now.
Yeah.
In 2013, you actually didn't go to nationals that year. It's why?
Well, I think I was doing my final year of high school at that time.
Yes.
And it doesn't sound too big, but if you don't do your high school well, you can't get into a good uni here.
I mean, how crazy is it, dude? He was still in high school, and now you're a working man. It's what 10 years can do to you, boys and girls. Wow. That year you didn't go, but you played. You still play Vanguard.
I still play Vanguard. Yep.
And actually, 2013 it was in Sydney, but we had an English. It was English only Vanguard. But at the same time, he was also busy. So trying to test decks for English, not a chance. But this is what you played. This was one of your favorite decks in 2013.
Well, I'm on reverse first. Looks funny.
It looks like a tree.
It looks like a tree.
Yeah.
And at that time it was Limit Break 4 wasn't really my cup of tea, and Chaos was around. I tried playing some reverse, like I think Ethics Buster, but a bit clunky. Didn't like it too much.
Yep.
But I'm on reverse. 1, I have the old cards. 2,
Yep.
You can just go big, get crit, and hope they don't have a null. So yeah, it was fun.
And you had other decks as well that you played.
Yeah, I was exploring quite a bit of decks at that time, but in the end, it just didn't play tournaments and didn't have English cards back then too.
Sure.
We helped a bit with the tournaments, judging, running events.
Like, they still had local Japanese events, just the big tournament wasn't in Japanese.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird. Because that brings us to next year, 2014. 2014, we still didn't go to nationals, right?
But I missed that one as well.
But they did have a Japanese tournament. But we just didn't go because I think were you busy then?
I was busy. That will be.
Was it the ending of the HSC or something?
Yeah.
Because it's kind of weird. Like, so in Australia they have year 11 and 12. Year 11 is only three terms out of 4, and then on your 4th term you start your year 12. And then your year 12 then goes from then until the end of the next year. So it's like this weird, you have 3 terms of...
3 terms 5 sort of thing.
For year 11.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we didn't go that year. But that year was actually pretty big for Nova Grapplers.
Yes.
As you can see.
Like, I actually had the full deck. I SP'd out almost all of the cards in this deck. But I couldn't go. First, it was in Melbourne.
Yes, it was in Melbourne.
So I had to fly and couldn't find the time. And yeah, just missed it.
Yeah, this was a pretty silly deck.
This was one of my favorite decks. It's so dumb. If you don't know what it does, back then, LB4 was still being played, but it was a bit slow, so you play Legion, which can pop off earlier. With Legion, you get a Vanguard that's grade 3 and grade 2. And Nova Grappler has this odd grade 0, you can't use it as a starter. But Cat Battle is basically, if your grade 2 or lower Vanguard attack doesn't hit, you can sacrifice the Cat Battler and restand your Vanguard. And that means restanding both of your Vanguards if it's in Legion.
Yeah.
And you got Reguards that restands when your Vanguard stands as well. So you can do some crazy multi-attack very early on. It's overall pretty silly deck, but I love it.
Yeah, keep in mind this was in Japanese format, so they didn't merge all the sets together and all that.
Yes.
And yeah, it's pretty stupid for a time. They hit Cat Butler for a reason, guys.
Yeah, but man, I love these sort of decks.
Alright, so that was 2014, pretty boring. But then in 2015, I think, again, we didn't go in 2015.
No, we didn't go.
Yeah. What is this? Tell me about this monstrosity.
I still haven't gotten to like the full competitive mode since that Riser mode. None of the decks that I liked or owned were doing too well. And I've got this crazy idea that, hold on, you've got Limit Break for removal and you've got like, Kokira's Reverse.
Yes.
Which is not once per turn. So technically, if you write Kokira's Reverse and have that grade 1, you can just keep blocking 1, mill your deck, call something, and I think the target at that time was the Banshee, so +1 draw 1.
Yep.
Or the Crit Banshee, which is Soul Charge draw 1. So basically you mill out your entire deck very quick.
Very quickly, yeah.
And you spam Legion after that, because you know what, when you don't have a deck and you Legion, your compression is really good. And you can loop heals and stuff like that.
Yep.
It was sort of just a wild idea at that time. I didn't play too competitively, but definitely played it with a few friends. Some of them might remember. And this was one of the fun times that I had in Vanguard.
Yeah, this was the result of him buying a bunch of clans that were very cheap at the time.
Yes.
And it was like, wow, instead of having fun with only one meta deck, I can have fun with 3 different decks that are not meta. But it turns out that he didn't play with any of those clans except for Grand Blue. Because Murakumo was trash.
I bought 2 playsets of Murakumo with a lot of random PRs that can multi-attack and clone, but they weren't too good.
Yeah, and then you gave it to Baga.
Yes, I gave them to Baga, and that's how we get Baga to start playing Vanguard.
Yeah. Well, I guess something positive came out of it.
Actually, this is my first Grand Blue deck, actually, because DI wasn't too great at that time. I think the Legion was really hard to get. It was like PRs. But Grand Blue has similar aesthetics. I like the color, I like the art style. Definitely like the Banshees. So yeah,
it's good. Moving on. We have the ending of 2015, so it was time to start getting into tournaments again. We actually went to Melbourne this year.
Pain. Okay.
Now, why are you playing with this deck? It doesn't even have a G-Zone.
Did you even know Genesis existed in that year? When was this? 2016?
2015.
Yep.
End of 2015.
2015, Genesis.
So
Playable.
You took this to Nationals.
Yep, Nationals.
Where's the G-Zone, dude? Did you forget to put in the G-Zone?
Nope, I didn't have any.
What?
Didn't have any.
No, you could play like vanillas and stuff, right?
Alright, first thing first. I still did not own an English deck. I haven't really bothered like building a collection in English because I had so many cards in Japanese, SPs, 2-3 playsets of everything.
Yeah.
And buying English was not a big investment that I wasn't going to, so I just borrowed decks for tournaments. And guess what? When you borrow decks, you can't, beggars can't be choosers. So this is the deck that I got.
It's Legion.
It's Legion.
We're in G era, dude.
Yeah. It didn't do too well. It didn't plus that much. The powers were a bit low.
What was your record that day? Do you remember?
I don't want to remember, and I did not remember.
Was it like a 1x?
No. I definitely won at least 2 games.
Wow.
Or 3. I think 3.
3?
I won 3 games. I just played vanilla Vanguard. You know, go aggro in grade 1. A lot of people still play very lame at that time because they think, oh, game only starts after turn 3 or 4 when you stride. Nope. Drop your hand and bash. Sometimes you'll win. Actually, there is one card that I really like from Genesis. And yes, that's the Chikori. I actually have this card in SP in Japanese. I just love buying random cards. Japanese cards at that time. Might be one reason why I borrowed this deck, but
wow,
didn't have that much fun.
Yeah, so 2015, basically, end of that was when we all started getting a bit more serious.
Yep,
we want
this
to
was
get
like,
new decks.
I had enough. I want to win. I don't want to just like, I can't win just by randomly picking up decks the day before.
So 2016, all right. Now this is when things got serious. We got we see Kelvin Dappy. He's first place on Springfest. You know me.
That was team.
There's me. We've got Mark here, and he's playing Grand Blue at the
OG
time.
team.
Yeah, this is the OG team. There's a funny story with Grand Blue. We originally, believe it or not, Kelvin was gonna play Chaos. He was gonna play this deck instead.
This lame deck.
And I think even now, I don't think Kelvin has ever played a Link Joker deck at a big tournament, and he was close to playing one this year.
Yep.
But luckily he was saved by the bell. That Grand Blue 7Cs, this build came out and it was actually pretty good, right? You actually enjoyed playing this deck.
I love this deck.
Yeah, because we were really having problems finding the deck that he wanted to play. Because if he couldn't find a deck, we just know the guy that couldn't find a deck, he's playing Chaos. He's playing Chaos. And I guess I would play like Raging Form Dragon or something like that. But luckily, he found Grand Blue. Now, I guess what was the cool thing about Grand Blue is that back then, no one really fought for first stride that hard. Right?
Yeah, and there's no Sea Breeze as well.
Yeah, so. And with 7Cs, you could really pressure your opponent, right?
Yep. There's a lot of cards that you can drop early game and not feel bad about it.
And you would just inadvertently fight for first stride in some respects.
Yeah. I think by pressuring them so much, they'll just like ride grade 3, try to do something, and then you ride and stride. Because
back then, even the first stride wasn't even that strong. A lot of the first strides were just set up turns.
Yep, and a lot of decks actually don't have good strike. It was the GB3 meta at that time.
And interestingly, like the Night Mist was actually a pretty good first stride.
That was actually this deck was pretty hard to get at that time because the cards that you need is pretty ancient. You've got Captain Night Mist, which is like one of the ancient BT sets.
Yeah.
And then you have Dancing Cutlass.
Oh, yes.
That card was so hard to get. We were just lucky to have an old friend that, cracked random old sets.
I think they were selling for $5 a piece or something, and they were sold out.
Yeah.
That was insane.
So yeah, but really cool deck. You can smack really early, put your starter Vanguard to the front.
Yeah. I guess the interesting thing about this deck when we tested was that it actually was pretty good against Chaos.
That too, yeah.
You could kind of outgrind Chaos by just being super lame.
Yep.
And then eventually Chaos runs out of steam, and then you could kind of win or just deck him out kind of thing. Which is it's crazy.
And you have a pretty cool mechanic with the break ride. You can do half start with Night Mist, break ride with Pledge Storm from the drop zone, and then stride. I really like that play. I think it's like one of the coolest things.
That's pretty cool. All right, so that was basically a winning deck. Then we won Springfest. We went to Continentals.
Yep. And boy, that was a different environment.
Yeah. It was crazy. Like one thing was that we had 16 cards the G zone.
Yeah. There's a lot of change in a short amount of time.
Yeah, I think we went really big brain with this. We were like,
yes.
What are we gonna play for this tournament? And I think we quickly set like. That we're gonna definitely play an Angel Feather.
Yep, because the deck was just so absurd.
Yeah, it was just bonkers.
Like Refrost at 4 back then it was ridiculous.
And we were like, okay, we'll give it to someone who likes playing combo. I think at the time, Mark was already set on playing Gear Chronicle.
Yep.
That got pretty buffed, Time Leap and all that jazz. I'm not very good with playing combo decks at a tournament environment, so I guess it naturally just fell into Kelvin, who just likes to play solitaire deck. You could say this is pretty much...
It is pretty much a solitaire deck. But we didn't actually do too well at Continentals, and a lot of it, I think, The rules were very different, eh?
Yes, yes.
Think what was it?
They were
The time roll.
Yeah,
No, the time
Bushiroad
roll.
rules, man.
Oh my! I think at that time, if you go to time, you get double loss.
Yes, you get a double loss.
And me playing this deck, you know, I would just
just go to time every single game.
Yeah, pretty
Right.
much. You go over like 25 minutes in that time. 25 minutes was it?
Yeah.
Yeah. You go to over 25 minutes, especially if you get into a mirror or like some matchup where you can't just wombo combo with them out of the game.
It's not really a wombo combo deck. It's just like get infinite hand.
Yep.
Get infinite power at
Infinite
some
power,
point and
yep.
just like bash your opponent. But
Yep.
it takes time getting there because you have to
Yes.
loop your Refrost and
Yes.
stuff. So,
And there's a lot of like shuffling and cutting and giving up on do you want to cut? No, shuffle, draw, damage, flip. You know, a lot of card movements.
yeah.
And yeah, I think I went to time like 2 or 3 times that day.
Yeah. So in hindsight, it wasn't a great pick. You
Yep.
should just pick something brain dead like SGD.
Yeah,
Like,
actually,
you'd never good at time.
it was definitely a strong deck, but just not the right deck for the environment, I would
Yeah,
say.
especially the rules. Like
Yep.
the rule set they were doing was not great.
Yep. I think we were sort of spoiled by best of 3 in Australia.
Yeah, Australia has
Really
yeah,
good, really
The
good.
end of time procedure is better. It's like turns, and then you had like
I think higher damage loses and stuff like that.
yes. So moving on. We went to nationals after that.
Nationals. All right.
Now,
By this time, I sort of tried like, all right, I've had enough with Angel Feather. And I think Refrost got hit to 1 at that time. So tried to go back to Crown Blue. I didn't remember this deck too well, but I saw it top in Japan. So I was trying to net deck, like, try to figure out how this deck runs.
yeah.
Did pretty okay with it. I think I just I can't remember if I top 8'd or I
No,
barely
you were
missed
in the
it.
bubble. You were in the
Yeah,
bubble.
I think it was like not 10th place or something like that. Basically, I think I lost 2 games. One was like, can't remember what I did, but I think I got a game loss for it.
Oh, what was it?
I think I have like left the card or like dropped the card or something.
What?
It was something that was mechanical, and my lesson. I think that year overall was just a big wake up call, and that's when start taking Vanguard a bit more seriously.
Yeah.
But
we had a big year that year.
yeah,
And
this deck definitely lead up to other Grand Blue decks that I built in the future.
Yep.
Actually, might all start from that Kokiris deck. They all play in that weird fashion.
Well, nothing really happened here, but you didn't make top 8, unfortunate.
Yeah, but that year I think it was Dylan and Mark who won the whole tournament, didn't?
Yeah, Mark won the tournament.
Yeah.
Dylan came second.
Yep. So I think that was like well deserved to both of them, and I was overall still very happy with the results. And that's when I started sort of this is a team thing. It's not just about me winning. So that made the experience more
Enjoyable.
bearable
Wow.
if you lose.
Bearable.
Okay. At least my friends won.
I mean, that year you did pretty well at nationals. I think you top 8 Weiss.
Oh yeah, I did. Yeah.
Twice, did you?
That was Japanese Weiss, was it?
Yeah, but I think, did you top 8 Weiss English as well? I think you got a game loss, right?
Oh yes, actually I did top 8 Weiss in both formats. In Japanese, I lost to this guy over here
Top
because
8.
he just like drew the nuts and I drew the bricks. And in English, I didn't write 2 TD cards in my deck list and got DQ'd. I was DQ'd. I was in top 8 and DQ'd.
I think it was a game loss, right? But it's best of 1.
Yeah, it was a
best of
game
1.
loss in best of 1.
So it just means you lose.
Yep.
Just lose. Alright, so we're in 2017 Springfest now. This was a bit different from last year because it wasn't teams.
Yep.
And it was just singles. But this deck looks very similar to the deck that you had before.
Yeah. So this was actually just like this deck came out right after Rami Labyrinth, and I saw it top a bit in Japan. So I was like, oh, I've got like almost all the cards that I need for this deck. Just need to buy some new cards, mod it a bit, and bam. Very cool Night Royce plus Starlight deck. The idea is you just want to, multi-attack 10 billion times. Was a really cool, interesting deck, and I think we're up top 8 with the same, very similar list.
Yeah, I think he ran like a Cockatous Reverse or something for the...
Could be for that one.
You're only one GBA? I thought people were running
I
2.
couldn't find the slot. I would like to run 2. Actually, like to run 2 of the CB2 retired guy as well, but couldn't find the slot.
Yeah.
Still did pretty well with this deck. I got it to the last round of Swiss, but didn't make it top 8, so close, but no cigar.
And then next time, we did do pretty well. Right?
Oh yeah.
What was this? It was Perth.
This was that one random trip. So, you know, we got all serious about tournaments and all that, but while all of these guys enjoyed their trip to New Zealand,
yes.
I couldn't go because I needed to get a visa. So instead, I'm like, hey, this is a funny idea. That was also the one year that they had 2 nationals for Australia.
Yes.
One in Melbourne and one in Perth. I'm like, Perth?
That's
you have card fighters in Perth? Sure, I'm like, I did pretty well in the previous years. I could just go there and like smack and win, right? So I didn't actually tell anyone I was going to Perth.
Yeah, you did.
I literally finished work on Friday evening, have everything packed in my backpack, and just went to the airport, still dressed up, and took a 5-hour flight to Perth. Got an Airbnb there, and just messaged everyone, hey guys, good luck over there from Perth.
It's funny because I think not only you did that, I think some Indonesian people came down as well, right?
This year was also, this is also another WCC story, see? A lot of these decks are like, you know, WCC startup stories. This is the first year I met Mr. Derek Dow.
Yeah.
And Mika! So I was told there's this legend about, you know, we are having 2 hands.
2 hands.
His left hand, Jasper. His right hand, Mika. I was like, oh.
Wait, were they the right way around?
I can't remember which one's which.
Okay.
One of those. But I always saw one of Europe's hands there. I'm like, what the hell? Okay. Someone coming from Melbourne. No, someone from Indonesia. I'm like, okay, I don't actually know the Indonesian community at that time. So I'm like, whatever, just gonna go there, play. And at that time I had a very dumb deck. And that was this Salivan Solitaire deck. This was also one of my favorite decks. It was so ridiculous you can get away with 2 nulls. I think this is...
Look at this, it's 4 enigmatic consensus already, man.
Yep. And that's not even your starter. You had 21 grade zeros in this deck.
Yes.
This is one of those decks that had really odd ratios. And yeah, you just solitaire your way out of the game, and...
It's up like multi-attacks, you refresh your deck.
Yep.
And then
you never run out of a hand, you never run out of guard.
Keep on soul charging your werewolves to draw.
Yep.
Then you're like cats, counter charge.
And then can super compress into Bladdermouse.
Yeah. GB8. You can multi-attack with crits. With your enigmatic. So yeah, pretty crazy.
Crazy deck.
Even a one-shot, right? You can just randomly one-shot.
Yes, I had the Demagogue engine. Demagogue was also one of my favorite cards because, you know, it reminds me of good old DI days. So went there, did really well up till I met first this guy called Derek Dow. Which
the beginning.
Look at this. Look at his deck name.
The Curtis Schindler of Vietnam.
Oh my god. And scroll down, if you check the third player's place, I think you'll see
it's Fu.
Team Derek.
Did they spell Derek wrong? My wife who's a trash Team Derek. Derek.
At that time it was like, you know, you have got the Perth community, like, you know, oh, it's fun that we got nationals, and then randomly this one Indo guy and one cynic guy thinking they can just like smack us. So it was like Perth versus
outsiders. 2
random outsiders.
I think Mika did pretty well, right?
Mika did really well. Yeah. Mika did really well.
Playing Luad.
Beat him on the top 4.
Okay.
That's what happened.
I mean, I think it's a pretty favorite matchup for you.
Yeah, it was fair. Yeah, because Salivan was like that.
I remember it gives shield, right? This thing
gives massive shields.
Yeah,
it gives massive shields, and I have unlimited hand.
Wow, pretty broken.
Yeah, but you know, Derek, I think he knows this deck a bit more than the rest, and he just did a bunch of blank multi-attacks. I'm like, well, yes, I'm dead. I think it was a 1-2 finals, but still, really enjoyable trip. And hey,
Met new friends.
Met new friends. That's the most important part. And I think
that year we actually just went to Worlds for the heck of it, right?
Yeah.
I don't think we actually made it.
Yep.
It was playing that
Yep.
we just went for the
we were there as supporters. we're trying to build the community.
I mean, that wasn't even nationals. There's still Melbourne nationals.
There was still Melbourne nationals. That's right.
This was the deck you took to Melbourne nationals.
Oh man,
And
Melbourne nationals.
Melbourne nationals. Let me explain it a bit.
I hated that meta.
It was chaos. The Link Joker set just got released, the first one. So basically, everyone
1 or 2 days into it.
just
like
one
that.
day before.
One day,
right?
yeah.
And everyone was either playing Chaos, Messiah, and then there was like 2 people playing Deleter.
Yep.
And then this guy decided, well, I kind of want to play Geek Chronicle instead. So I'll play the deck that you guys kind of played in New Zealand.
Yep.
But you played pretty well. You did pretty well, right?
So, fun fact with GCL, I liked how the deck runs, how smooth like all the engines interact with each other. But most importantly, I found out, wait, this deck has resist cards. And at that time, I think the idea was you want to stride multi-tech with the Ox and the Sheep, right? Just restand the Ox multiple times.
Or you could just go into like a kind of a loop with this guy.
Only have 1 copy.
Yeah.
So I wasn't ready for that play at all.
Yeah, so the difference between our list was that back then we could loop with this, I forgot what his name was, right? It was a unicorn. Yeah, unicorn. Yep. But when you go into a Link Joker meta, you don't have slots to multi-attack with, so all you do is you went more resist-based, and then you just make a few attacks, and then bam.
I actually have 1 more card with resist, that great one over there.
Oh yeah, this one.
So it's very similar, so I just have 5 resist units and stuff that, you know, makes my rear guards empty.
Yeah. Well, like what happens is like you lose slots eventually, but like after
with the remaining slots that you have, you gotta punch your way through.
Yeah, but also like at some point you just gear next to them and they're dead.
That's right.
Like there's nothing they can do because it hits big.
Yep.
And yeah.
And I think one of my favorite plays at that time was, I think with the Ox, because there was Lacus Carina, and a lot of people didn't know what Lacus Carina did. I would play the Ox in the front row, the Sheep in the front row, and a resist unit in the back row.
Yeah? And what would that do?
They can't Lacus Carina on my back row, so I can still use the Sheep by returning my back row and restand the Ox. That was pretty fun. I just like, gear next, put all the triggers to the Ox, restand it a bunch, and GG.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
I think got to top 8 on this one.
Yeah, you got to top 8, but I think you faced Andy, right?
I did, yeah. So
he beat you because he actually knew that. I think when we tested this,
he knows the deck, both decks inside out.
When we testing this, like during testing, it was like a 50-50 for a Link Joker.
Yep.
So, but we assumed that not everyone was as good as we were.
But oh well, you lose to the player that you know who's as good. So
yeah, that's what happens. If they know the deck, then it's pretty hard.
At least the team wins.
Yes. I think he came third, and then Ken came third, right?
Oh yeah, Ken came third. Oh,
I don't know how Ken manages to keep on topping in Vanguard when all he does is play Wise.
He only wanted to win Wise, but he kept winning Vanguard. Yeah, it's funny.
You should just play Vanguard. Then he'll win Wise.
Yep.
So that year, we didn't do anything at Worlds. We just met up with everyone, had a bunch of fun. But then next year, Springfest came back again. Remember teams, and this time we came second instead of first.
Man. This was actually my favorite meta aside from Bermuda.
Really?
It's bearable because there's Bermuda, because it's teams, so you don't always guarantee to verse against Bermuda.
So the funny story behind this was that Kelvin couldn't test for like 4 weeks or so because his parents came over and
family.
Well, they know now. So he really couldn't test. And then we were like, "What are you gonna play?" And he goes, "I'll figure something out." And he figured out this monstrosity, which is just basically another solitaire deck. Because he could just
I'm surprised nobody came up with it. The cards have been out for so long.
Actually, I think you see some of these cards in one of the
Japanese.
VMC winners like later on in like 2019 or something.
Oh man, Glanzon was such a cool card. Again, you see the 4 assassins there.
Yeah.
You know what the deck does. Basically...
So, if you think of Wombo Combo, this is basically the entire deck.
The deck has 3 modes. If you want to grind,
do you really have 3 modes of this deck?
yep. You want to grind, you can go Balam and do the good old, darkness play. And then you go into your. Crap! I forgot the name now.
Is this name?
No, your ultimate stride.
Oh.
He's nerfed so much. Yep.
Dust.
You dust and you assassin them while they're on 1 power.
Yeah.
The other one is you go Demagogue and then you have Tragic Claw and just keep playing on top of that card until you've got like 5 card deck and you glance on Vampire and you basically order them into like 2 stand triggers. And you basically have like a 7 attack turn with like insanely high power.
And then if you actually don't kill them, you can still go into things like what?
Leather Mouse, yeah, because you have 10 billion soul and you're super compressed. Was really fun. Did really well with it, except for the final round. I lost because
you had to no guard.
Oh, my opponent created 3 turns in a row and grade 2, 1, 2, and 2.
Yeah, no, but you had to no guard the last attack.
Yes.
Otherwise, you couldn't stride.
That's right. That's right. So got it for 1, 2 pass, but hey, got credit again.
Yeah,
Unlucky.
And then I think you went to national. Oh no, what was this one?
This was Melbourne Nationals.
What happened to New Zealand?
I'm trying to remember. I was on painkillers at that time.
Yeah.
I didn't know why I did it. Basically, I had
You got your wisdom tooth pulled?
had a surgery. 2 surgeries.
You had a surgery?
Yep.
Wait, that wasn't your wisdom one?
That was my wisdom one. 2 of them.
2 of them?
Yep.
Wow.
It was also like hitting my nerves or something, but anyways, it was bad. But I booked flight to New Zealand a few days after it.
What a stupid idea.
That was like one of the dumbest things I did.
I remember we rented a pretty good Airbnb that time.
Was it?
Yeah, well, he was definitely dead half the time.
Yep.
But yeah, no, that Airbnb was pretty good. It was like heaps of rooms, but all you saw was Kelvin dead.
Yeah, I think half the time I was like, I had to run out to the bathroom just to wipe blood off my face.
Dude. Yeah. Guys, pro tip, if you get your wisdom teeth pulled,
Yep.
stay home.
Stay
Stay
home.
home.
Just enjoy the next tournament. But I played Grand Blue at that time.
Wow.
I was suicidal. I don't know what I did. I loved Grand Blue. Even though it was OTT meta, so I was confirmed decking out each time.
I mean, did you even play in the tournament?
I half remembered the tournaments, but
wow.
it was painful.
It was
painful.
Well, to scrub that pain away, you went to Melbourne.
I went to Melbourne and played one of the best decks. Well,
in the format at the time.
Yeah.
And that was Murakumo.
I want to say I like this deck, but a lot of people would bash me for it. Because Zambaku was a pretty dumb format.
Yeah. You did pretty well though.
I did pretty well, but here is also another WCC story. This is where I met we got close with 2 of our new recruits. Yeah. Jasper and Toby.
Oh,
Toby came first on this one. He won the entire thing.
Toby Jones.
And throughout the entire tournament, I fought Jasper for the 3rd place. Won barely.
Jasper's like,
but Jasper's like, yeah, but
in 4th place.
Made good friends with Jasper after that. And with Toby, first time I'm like, okay, this is pretty much a mirror, but I think he's a very strong player.
Yeah.
And he played a card that I didn't know existed. The Raccoon.
Oh, this guy.
That PR. I honestly didn't know that card existed. Otherwise, the whole deck build would be different.
You did not know this existed.
I did not know that existed. And Toby, being a good player, every time he sees one of my arresters go to damage, man, he did like some of the most punishing plays I've ever seen. And that was the story of me losing.
Well,
yeah.
Well, you can see here, he doesn't run the Raccoon.
Yep,
so I didn't know it existed.
I just put a bunch of fillers, grade 1. You can see I play like 4 copy of the Mandala Lord because I thought, well, if there's nothing better to run, might as well just max it out.
Yeah.
But apparently there were something better to run, and just didn't have it.
So the next day after your standard tournament, we had another great result for you. That was premium. What's this? Was it 2nd place?
Yep.
Kelvin Yap, yeah?
I think this was one of my peak years in Vanguard. You know, at that time I think top 3 qualifies for Worlds.
Yes.
So I qualified for both standard and premium at that time, and I actually did get both of the PRs, which was nice. Didn't have to play both. But yeah, this deck, I think this was like, I wouldn't say peak premium, but this was one of those super big brain decks, right? I think at that time a lot of decks were just Grindfest, or some people played Gize. But
this basically changed the entire format.
Yeah,
and,
I think if you want to say a deck is broken, this is like one of the truly broken decks in Vanguard Premium at that time. So what we realized is like with 4 assassins and NLK, you can really like 0-6 someone.
Yeah.
So because you really want to go to that setup, you build the deck in a way that you don't let your opponent play, basically not giving them damage.
Don't give them damage.
So you'll just like swing under a billion times, right up, get your GB unlocked, and dig for your Bobos. Give yourself damage.
Of course, your opponent might just give you damage.
That's true.
And you just win.
Yes,
right?
a lot of the players at that time still, played.
They didn't realize it. If they weren't keeping up with what.
That's right. They still played as a grind game, so they give you damage.
But against smart people.
Yep.
we have this.
You need Bobos to save you. Otherwise, like the game will not progress for both players. So, Bobo was like the key card of this deck, I would say. One of the key cards. Yeah. So yeah, I think a bunch of us played very similar list.
Yeah, I think I played the same list as you.
Yeah.
It just comes down to drawing the Bobo.
Yep. I think we played each other on top 8.
Yeah.
4.
Top 8.
Top 8.
Our pal Derek here.
And Derek won the entire thing because I think 4 Bobos and I run 3. I think on one. The funny thing is like on one of the turns we did a Bobo and attacked and got a heal trigger. I was like, oh no, my progress for one turn is gone. Which the mirror was pretty wild. It was definitely mind blowing. Like the people who said like, what is this game? Why is the finals of Vanguard 2 players passing each other?
What a fun interaction.
Like you ride 5k. Pass, my turn, write 4k, play another card, swing under. You're just digging for cards, Bobos, your pieces, give yourself damage and just 0-6.
Yeah. I mean, so here's the thing. You could have picked between standard and premium. What did you pick? For Worlds.
Honestly,
first Worlds.
with standard, wasn't too fond, and I feel all-time players played a lot of G decks. I love premium and DI. Come on,
DI was your man, right?
I've been playing DI since like BT3 with like No Life King, and hey, it's No Life King. This guy came back, and like
it's true.
Like I couldn't be happier. Like if you see my decks from that PR board from Kinokuniya.
That progressed to this.
Yep, and the assassins that I played from like all those jank
every
decks.
Single year.
Pretty much. Even the Slivan there like helped a lot.
This was pretty much the combination every single DI deck you played.
This was the deck. The Creeper, love it. Tragic Claw, love it. War Tiger. Funny thing, the Jaegers in Japanese were PRs and they were really expensive to get. So when they came out in English and it was like part of booster, I was so happy.
I think they reprinted like BT14. So
yeah. So this deck, like, just love it to bits. And got to second place, but the first place is like Derek, which plays a list arguably better than mine because he's got. Scroll down, another old card that I completely forgot about. Yellow Bolt.
It's Yellow Bolt.
That card makes the mirror just like you make progress while your opponent just sits there digging cards. So
it makes it a weird hybrid deck.
Yes.
Speed versus also a legging kind of thing. But you went to Worlds for Premium, yeah?
Premium was the game.
This was what you brought to Worlds.
Yes.
What were the big changes between
then
and like a couple of months later,
by this time the WCC gang were already like formed. We're talking to each other a lot about what we were gonna bring to Worlds, how we're helping each other, which list do you think you'll see, and
I think you worked with Derek a lot.
very closely,
list, right?
yep, and a few other friends.
I think Turgan is slightly different in
yes. But it's also like based on experience, and also spoke with Haptism. That's right.
Oh yes, Haptism was there as well.
Yeah,
and he also brought an LK.
Yep, he brought an LK. And funny thing, I got my yellow bolts from Derek, so we couldn't find it.
Yeah, they were like they became like $20 each or something like that.
Yeah, because that was like the big brain card. And me, I had DI Japanese cards. I was just like, I'm going to Japan. I'm not gonna need it, but hey, someone out there might be playing Japanese DI and they might need it. So I brought my Japanese DI cards to Worlds.
I remember this story.
Yep. The day before players meet, I think it was weird. It was like, hey, like we were helping like Joe Haptism with his deck for like the Japanese phone. I was like, oh, do you have like these kind of like
I remember, I think Haptism forgot his deck or something.
I think he forgot some cards. I can't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The day before National. Yeah. I remember I got messaged and I'm like, what?
So basically we just got him a DI deck, which is almost carbon copy, and still couldn't find the yellow bolts. I'm like, hold on a sec. Let me check my suitcase, and bam, I had Japanese yellow bolts. Gave it to him.
And he came like what?
I think he was third at like Japanese Worlds Japanese.
WGP, yeah.
But that was pretty well. So
what a save.
Anyways, this deck definitely a lot of hard work put into it. Me and Derek, we tested this deck like 2 bits, like
at Denny's, right?
One of the Gusto.
Was it Gusto? Denny?
Yeah. One of them.
Yeah, one of
the good family restaurants in Japan.
I mean, there was a big change at Worlds, right?
Yes,
there was the Gold Paladin.
The Gold Paladin. It's not the Gold Paladins that you know the next year, but
I mean, when you were thinking of Worlds, did you think there'd be more NLK or there'd be more Gold Paladins?
I was thinking there would be more NLKs because I was paying attention to the European, American players at that time, or just the winning tops, and
NLK.
We see NLK, yep.
So everyone decided to bring gold.
Yeah,
a lot of people decided to bring gold.
Yeah, there was a lot of golds there. So that was a bit of a miscalculation on our side, but still, we did build this deck to
beat both.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, Derek did pretty well that year.
Yes, and we play the exact same list. It might be 1 card difference.
Yeah.
Might be the Traveler or something.
I mean, what happened to you? What happened to you that year?
I thought that was gonna be my year, and
so cocky. First year of Worlds, already my year.
Yeah. That day, I wrote No Life King twice. Twice.
That sounds fun.
That Demagogue. No, not Demagogue. What's his name?
The spoiler.
The spoiler. Yeah. That's right. Alright, that guy, like, I see him every single time. I would G-assist and see that guy.
I mean, it's okay if your opponent's not playing Gold Paladin, right?
Yep.
Otherwise,
your opponent's playing Gold Paladin, so you just cry.
Just die.
I think my first game was also a no NLK game, and I actually won that one. I think it was against Gold Paladin, and he rushed me pretty hard. It's just, I don't know, I was somehow tanking. But
I mean, back then we didn't have quick shields as well, guys.
Yep, no quick shields. So going second was painful. So he's got like 20 card hand or something like that. I've got like almost nothing. I had a Ghoulisty spoiler and a bunch of like digging cards on the field.
Yep.
He's on 2 deck. IG got it a bunch. My turn. Draw. The ultimate stride into dust. Ping him 1 damage. And pass. That pass was my proudest pass in my whole Vanguard career.
Why?
I knew he had G Guardians. He could have signed me and put cards back to his deck.
And then he
would've
decked
lost.
out, right?
And I would have lost.
Yeah.
So yeah, I strode dust and passed on the spoiler. That was my proudest win, and from there on, it's pretty much downfall.
Down.
I think I won with the spoiler with that first game, and we keep riding the spoiler after that. It was kind of sad, honestly. Yeah, it was really sad at that year, but hey, Derek did pretty okay with it. So, our decks weren't wrong. We just, you can't
one
always
guy
get
wrote
lucky.
the spoiler. Yeah.
You can't always get lucky. Sometimes you'll just pull the short straw.
All right. So Worlds finished.
World's finished.
We're on to
Back to hometown.
Yeah. What was this? What was this?
This was Springfest
That's right.
2019. I don't know why I picked this deck.
Oh, you had to pick this deck.
I had to, actually, yeah. That was
It was Bermuda, which Mark was playing.
Yep. Kagero, which I'm not touching.
Yeah, he can't play Kagero.
I actually have tried Kagero for other formats, and I could never pilot a Kagero.
We have a funny joke in that Indos can't play Kagero, right?
But
Jasper played Kagero, but I think that year he also went really badly as well. Right?
No, their team got third place.
Yeah, but he didn't do well.
He did really well. He did really badly, yes. I think he let the team down a lot of times, but
he beat you.
Yep. So here's the thing, right? I don't think that's even Kagero. So I will just play normally. I can't remember who went first. I think he went first. Right attack, my turn.
Yep.
Just attack normally on 3 damage. His turn. Right, I think Waterfall first, or Overload, whatever. And it's Force 1, smack. I'm pretty okay. No guard, crit.
I mean,
he gave me his hand. He's oh, nice game, good game. Yeah, man.
I mean, it's kind of funny because you did play Kagero years ago, and that was maybe your best placing ever with Kagero, and it's only been downhill since.
Yeah, it feels like that. It's just not destined to play like Kagero.
Wow. But you played this for Standard Springfest. Unfortunately, that day you let the team down.
Yep. I lost twice.
Twice? Was it twice or 3 times?
It was twice, and both times when I lost, either you and Mark also lost. So
bad luck.
It's team effort. It's team effort.
I mean,
I think we still made it to the last round of Swiss, but
we made it to the last round of Swiss, but we were X2,
yeah.
It was just a bubble.
Yep.
We didn't make it. But then the next day, you played Gold Paladin for our team. We went top 8 until we faced our fellow WCC team and lost.
This was a refreshing premium after the NLK assassin stuff happened. Basically, I still have a grudge against Ezel because of the high roll build the previous year. But
I think it's you didn't really have much of a choice, right?
Yeah.
What were you gonna play? OTT? I don't see. You played OTT the previous day.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't want to touch. OTT is also not my kind of deck. I don't know.
It's a very lame deck.
Yeah.
And again, the other choice is Bermuda, which
I think Mark pilots that the best. Yeah. He's autopilot Bermuda god.
I mean, I'm surprised there wasn't a good DI list for you that year.
There was something, but it's not.
Not as
great.
broken. Not as broken. They nerfed the assassins by then.
Yep.
So
the deck hurt a lot and didn't have any good V cards as well. So that let it down.
I mean, this is kind of an interesting progression of Gold Paladin. This is the early Gold Paladin.
This was and this is when we thought we can big brain with Platina. I think that was a mistake. I think we'd just be better with 4V.
Yeah. There wasn't not a Platina.
Ravens. That's right. But yeah, this was I think I had pretty good fun with it.
I think you played Derek, and he did the combo.
Yep, he did the combo.
Kishima combo and killed you.
Yep. But this was a fun list. Still trying out golds.
How well did you do that day? I think you didn't do that excellent, right?
I think I lost around 2 or 3 times. No, we got to top 8.
Top 8, yeah.
I think I only lost once before the top 8. So.
You got triple crit by a coral.
Yeah,
right?
I did.
Was that?
Yeah, I got triple crit by something.
Yeah, I don't
remember the deck, but it was triple critted.
I think you went X2 that day, so you got triple crit by coral. Was But then the other one you lost, but I won that one, which is lucky because I think that day I was doing not great. So I faced all the laws and what the
Yeah,
What the hell?
That was like also the time that we were still underestimating Luard. I think. I think we should have brought Luard.
I wouldn't know. You play Luard, man.
But yeah, this was interesting. I think this was still like sort of the slow build. You go
Yeah.
into an Ultima, still have the stand trigger. Go
Not all the plays were super figured out by then.
yeah,
as well,
yeah.
right?
This was like still
it's kind of the YOLO,
young Ezel. Yeah.
YOLO Ezel kind.
Yep.
But soon, this was a pretty good one.
Oh, yep.
Wow.
So
New Zealand.
New Zealand. So finally, I got to enjoy the beauty of New Zealand.
Without having toothaches.
Yep. I could actually eat stuff there. That was great.
Had Denny's.
And finally, like, fun fact, we've actually known Simon for a while by then.
yeah.
And crashed his place, made some really good friends as well, and basically robbed their nationals.
Well,
Here's the thing. Kelvin came out. I was like, these cards are pretty good. I like how this deck plays. Never a Pale Moon main before, but I just like the playstyle. You hit over triggers.
it's a very solitaire playstyle as well.
It can be a solitaire
can
deck. It can be a solitaire deck.
I mean, I think that standard was like what? Andy was second with another Pale Moon.
Andy plays the high rarity.
Issues?
I think he just net decked me.
Yeah, and then I was third with
Murakumo, because you rode
Shirayuki.
I was like, oh, I guess I win
Looks
this
like a
one.
free win.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I was kind of like I like decks with slightly more interaction and field vibes. So
This was the 3 meta format, right? This was the triple axle meta.
Yeah, no, those
Anger Blader.
Those Anger Blader, but not that many people are on it.
Yep.
I don't think Anger Blader was out here.
Maybe
But no, there was like Mordred and stuff. And there was like
Ah.
things like Maelstrom that was kind of underrated.
Yep.
Yeah, this is
Pale Moon
deck.
was insane, yeah.
I think a lot of people underrated Pale Moon as well at the beginning.
Yes. No, because the deck is not super straightforward when you just read the cards, but you can do things like stack your front triggers.
Well, I disagree. The deck looks very straightforward, but playing the deck itself required a totally different idea. It wasn't just make a full field and bash face.
Yes.
It was
There were like a lot of small plays that gets you, pluses here and there.
Yeah, it would be going, why do you run this card? And it's like, wow,
Yeah.
I could loop through my deck and get front triggers.
Double front, yep. That's it.
So,
You can sort out your bottom deck, stack it up, and double front someone.
yeah, so
That's it.
I guess if you were a total newbie, you'd play this deck and go, yeah, it's kind of strong.
This deck, it's like Glands and Vampire. That's why I like it. You stack your bottom deck and trigger a bunch. Love it.
And then the next day, you couldn't stop. You still had to do something with Gold Paladin.
I was still hungry, all that. Oh, not all that, but my previous New Zealand trip wasn't paid off, so I want more. And I still love premium. I want standard, but I still want to play premium.
Oh yeah, playmat.
Yeah, well,
I mean,
that too.
This was kind of an interesting list. This is the time when we were talking about Hoel and Kaiden in the list.
This was Darrington's idea. I heard it from him.
Darrington did well with it. I think even Derek did well with it. He went to Cebu,
Philippines.
and one with this kind of build. This build was just a lot more just in your face.
Yep.
Dropped.
I think the biggest difference between here and Springfest was Platina was out. And a lot of people didn't realize you can Platina and Spear X and still get the effect.
Yeah, getting that double Spear X kind of thing.
And double Spear X, that was still like, we tried to keep it
hidden secret.
Hidden secret, that's like our secret spice that, only use it
once in a while.
If you really need to crush someone.
Like, the interesting thing with the Hoel and Kaiden was that one thing that was really annoying was that your fields, your Gold Paladin fields are really small and weak. So you're getting cucked by like one damage trigger, which is really annoying. So
everything hits like 19 and 16, 18. Like,
play this, all your problems are solved, right?
Yeah, at least have that 1-2 rows that confirm hit numbers.
I think at the time a lot of people were playing a lot of the old Criff because you couldn't play it as the first starter anymore. But a lot of played it a lot of copies of this just a high roll.
I think that was the big mistake. I think we're still in that transition from Ezel being a high roll deck.
I mean, later on we just took out this last copy as well. And I think
you don't need it.
Yeah, it just became just a
big brain
solid
deck.
list, But you did pretty well at New Zealand. Then you went to Melbourne, and I think you played similar lists again.
Yeah, I mean, I won New Zealand and got, was it third place? On
Yeah, third place in premium.
That was third place, and I only got that third place because I think I miscalculated something on that one match, but that was
Unlucky.
But yeah, I pretty much played almost the exact same list. It might be like 1-2 cards off.
What, to test?
That's
test?
right.
Yeah.
Like by the time I knew I was going to Worlds, and I need to polish my place.
Actually, it's in New Zealand only the top 2 qualifies for
That's
Worlds,
right. So I didn't get to play
premium.
Yeah.
But
so
just testing out decks. And
I'll be like, if I don't premium, I by the time we see the tournament results for other regions, we're like, man, the premium this year is gonna be so rough. It's gonna be like so tough to like even get to top 8. So I was like, might as well just start polishing my standard in case I have to go with standard.
Okay, all right, and
so yeah, pretty much went with the same list. I might have like placed 4 bunnies. I was trying to do a more turbo build.
Okay. Yeah.
I think I went X3 that day because I went too YOLO.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, I shouldn't do that again. And I think spoke to Min Hugh. And he's the Pelmoon god of Melbourne. But he's got very cool ideas about Pelmoon, and I definitely picked a few tricks from him that used up for Worlds.
Yeah, I think he went to Worlds as well that year too.
He did,
right?
yeah.
So, a bit of it for the fish market.
Yeah. He was like such a cool guy to hang out with.
And then you finally, right? So you ended up...
no, I still have the premium deck for
Melbourne.
for Melbourne. Honestly, I don't remember what I played too much, but it will be something very similar to this.
Well, it'll probably be without the kited hole.
Yeah,
but then we've evolved past that.
I think we were testing Bobos at that time.
Yeah, because I remember you guys sat in the room for a while as well and played.
We had like 5 people playing different versions of like Ezzles. It's pretty wild, but that was great fun.
Yeah.
And Simon and Toby won.
Yeah, they made it. They top 3.
They made it. So hey, that trip to New Zealand, so worth it. That's like my my top 2 trips. I can't do it by order. Perth trip in 2018, 17.
What, the Ninja trip.
Yep.
The Ninja trip.
And this New Zealand trip.
New Zealand.
New Zealand trip, because that was also when I convinced Simon, Weiss, tough game. Vanguard. Play this, and you'll do well. And
I mean, he became a champion.
2 years in a row.
2 years in a row, that's right, because of 2020.
Yep. And Toby also went super big brain. So I think that was great team effort there. Love the insane deck list that came out from that premium Ezzle deck.
Okay, and then finally, I think this is the final list we're gonna see.
Yep.
This is your Worlds list.
Yep.
Now, unfortunately, we don't see this on the main site, but you came 4th in this list.
They should give PD points for 4th place. Come on. Give me I don't know.
I mean, it was actually pretty crazy that year. Nuno won with Pelmoon as well.
Yes.
Kind of no one really expected Pelmoon to win. Everyone was thinking...
Hyuga.
It's got to be Hyuga. But Pelmoon took it home.
Yeah.
And then it was just, Hyuga 2nd, and then it was Engerblade a 3rd, and you came 4th with this.
Yep.
And how did you... Let's talk a bit about this. How did you come up with it? And how good was it, pretty much?
One thing I learned from New Zealand, Pelmoon's good, stick with it. What I learned from Melbourne, people know how to play around CB2, and
wow, crazy.
You can't go YOLO in standard.
Yep.
So did some modifications in this list, mainly I think I took down the rabbit. I'm like, okay, let's maybe not aim for the stack, because in Worlds people are not gonna let the game go for that long. They play a lot more efficiently, a lot more aggressively. Can't go for that play, so gotta play more conservatively. To get around the CB denial, I put that one Chimera. We were like, oh, if you ride it, it's pretty bad, but as a regard, it's really good. The one that gives you one counter charge. And the grade 2 8K. Not that one, the other one on the left. Shader. Yep, Shader. This card hurts so much when you ride it.
True.
It's 8K. your opponent will just throw a great one and smack you in the face. Because Kelvin, it's still sort of like a slow start deck because you want to gather your axle markers to be really effective and use those front triggers. So yeah, I just didn't want to ride it, so I cut him down to 2, and then this card, the next card, I picked this one up from in here. To be honest, I was like, man, need a way to make the game progress without having to reload that CB2 play, and this is the answer. This card did so much, it's pretty ridiculous. With this, you can do things like roam me 4 times in one turn, so that removes the need of the bunny to stack your deck. You do like 2 roaming in CB1, pull 2 roamies out, do them again.
Yeah,
it's like 12 cards like that.
Progresses to the stack.
Yep, and also it makes your early game really good if you just have the dragons on the rear guards.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can make like you can start your aggression early on. Yep.
Because this requires you calling 2.
That's right. That's right. And if they don't kill your rear guards, they give you damage. You just ride Dorian and put everything back in, so you get your value back from your rear guards. Overall, that card put a lot of work that day. A lot of people just give me one CB passed. I'm like, fine by me. Drop my entire field, do this Dorian, and they're like, oh crap! I just wasted a turn. And best of 1. That one mistake will cost you everything.
How did you go for that whole day, by the way? Were you X1 or X0 in Swiss?
I did really well in Swiss. I think it was X1.
Oh wow. Yeah.
I think it was X1.
And I think you won basically every game until the end, right?
No, I think I might be X0 or X1. I can't remember.
Oh. Okay.
The funny thing is, I think I first Nuno first round.
Oh.
And won that one because he didn't have a good card to ride, so that was a bit bad.
Then he did the run back.
Yep. But I knew he was he's a great player.
We've seen him in like 2 years ago.
Yes, we have seen him.
16, 17
Yep.
Yeah. Well, you didn't get third that year.
And
right.
actually seeing him that early in the tournament and seeing him pick Kelvin, I was like, hope something's going right between both of our brains. And
pick the right deck.
When he won it, I couldn't be happier because Kelvin won. Kelvin won. He's a good player. That sort of gives you a bit of more confidence. Like you pick the right deck. It's still chancy, but it gives you a bit more. At least a part of you won. You can take a bit of that and be proud.
Part of you won. All right.
So that was the trip.
That was a crazy.
And that
finish,
Japan trip was so good. I would love to do more often, but
we
hey,
get the chance.
Yeah. And hey, didn't do anything in 2020. We're all saved up, so
let's go.
Next trip.
Open it up, boys.
Next trip.
See, that was a long trip through the ages, I guess.
Oh yeah.
Especially with your DI life.
All-timer DI life.
All-timer DI life.
Oh man.
I mean, right now you've pretty much played every single Dark States? We call that now.
I haven't played Spikes.
Spikes. So is the next thing Spike?
You would think I would play GBA Spikes, but no.
Oh wow. We'll never see the Dark States finish, man. Well, could be.
That was it.
We'll see.
We'll see. I mean, the new Dark State stuff has Spike stuff, if that counts.
All right. Well, anything you'd like to add at the end? Pretty much at the end of the journey?
Well, just shoutouts to everyone that I met through my Vanguard journey. I think all of that built up to this community that we have today, WCC. So it was great fun. And yeah, hope we go into a brighter future.
Hope we'll see everyone again, right?
Yes, definitely. We'll definitely see everyone again. So,
yeah. All right. I think it's been a while. Thanks for tuning in, guys. And maybe we'll do more of these in the future with other people.
Yeah, we should ask other people. We maybe can do Mark next.
Mark, yeah. Or Derek.
Derek, yeah, Derek will
do a long distance one.
Yep, Jasper.
Jasper, ooh.
Or Weir himself. But
Weir Up.
let us know in the comments. We'll pick one and we'll try to interview them.
Thanks for coming, guys. Bye.
See you.